So the Amazon rainforest is the world's largest tropical rainforest. It's the size of the continental United States, and when you think about the Amazon rainforest, you're really talking about one of the Earth's life support systems, one of the organs that keeps the Earth alive. The Amazon helps to regulate the global weather system, generate rainfall, drive weather systems around the planet, and it's also one of the most repositories of biodiversity on the planet. 1/3 of all species are found in the Amazon, and something like 1/5 of all fresh water is generated here. The Amazon is also the home to about 300 indigenous cultures, cultures that have been living in harmony with their environment for thousands of years. And these communities are dependent on the forest. The forest for them is their supermarket, their pharmacy, their in every way their home, and their church, and in many ways sacred. Most indigenous peoples consider their territories as sacred lands, and they are in perpetual relationship with their environment, constantly adding to the biodiversity that exists here, and are also really see the forest as a repository of spirits, places where spirits of nature live and must be respected and protected. And if they're living in harmony with their natural world, then they're protected by the natural world. So indigenous peoples are the stewards of the rainforest. They live harmoniously with the natural world, and therefore are basically, as a way of life, see themselves as the guardians of the forest. As a way of life, they are engaging in activities that help to promote biodiversity, help add to the agricultural diversity that exists in the Amazon, with food crops that have been domesticated over thousands of years. Their actually way of life is about honoring the forest and looking after it, so that the future generations of these communities can live in the way that these communities continue to live, dependent on the forest biodiversity, connected with the animals that live in the forest, and really having the forest as functional, that brings rain, that has spirit, that is thriving as a place. And so, indigenous peoples are often see activities that harm the forest as sacrilege. They're out there defending against oil companies, defending against logging companies, and really seeing the short-sighted ways that us in modern culture, modern world, are basically living in ways that are not sustainable with the forest. So indigenous peoples have a lot to teach us in the modern world, how to live more in balance with nature, how to recognize that nature is what feeds us, what sustains us, and that what we do to the earth, we ultimately do to our future generations. And that what we need to do is learn from indigenous communities and live with respect and reverence for nature, and live in ways that add abundance, help the ecosystem thrive, as opposed to undermine the life force that exists, and ultimately undermine our own future survival. So it's really important to continue to support indigenous peoples in their traditional ways, in their culture, their language, their use of medicinal plants, their ceremonies, their ability to practice their religious practices through the ceremonies that they have with ayahuasca, and to offer that as a way, as a window for the modern world to really understand this idea of a relationship with the natural world, and living that we are part of nature, and that we have to live in harmonious relationship with her. The work of Alianza Arkana is incredibly important at this moment in time, when the Amazon is facing huge threats by large-scale oil development, major infrastructure projects, dirty energy projects, short-sighted extractive industries that are come here and are basically, with support from the government, are trying to basically change the landscape and convert rainforests and indigenous communities to industrial development. And at this critical moment in time, Alianza Arkana is working hand in hand with local communities and other organizations in the region to help promote the rights of indigenous peoples and to stand for justice, help communities understand their rights, help them organize themselves in the face of powerful multinational oil companies that are coming down here to wreak havoc. And so this is critical work. They're also working hand in hand with communities in the Ucayali to bring about about really incredible, innovative programs on biocultural education, as well as sustainable and locally based economic activities that benefit the communities. And this is really visionary work. It's being supported through hundreds and thousands of people around the world who come here, who have seen the work about Alianza Arkana firsthand. And really, it's cannot emphasize the importance of this work and how important it is for people to get involved. And in one way, in one corner of the Amazon, make a real difference for the future of the rainforest here and for the people who live here.